Okay, real talk. I just spent $15 at the grocery store on fresh herbs for 1 week of cooking. Basil, cilantro, parsley, all of it wilted in my fridge within 3 days. And I thought, there has got to be a better way. Fast forward 6 months, I haven't bought herbs from the store once, not once. I'm harvesting fresh basil for pasta, cilantro for tacos, mint for tea, all from 5 plants on my kitchen windowsill. And here's the crazy part. One of these herbs literally cost $0 to start because you can regrow it from grocery store scraps. The total investment? Under $20. And I've already saved over $200 this year. So if you're tired of expensive plastic-wrapped herbs that die before you can use them, stick around. I'm breaking down the 5 easiest herbs to grow indoors, year-round. Plus, the mistakes that kill them before they even get started. Welcome to Green Life Zen, where we simplify sustainable living for everyone. No judgment, no overwhelm. Just one simple change you can make today. And growing herbs indoors? This is honestly the easiest entry point into sustainable living. You don't need a green thumb, you don't need a garden, and you definitely don't need fancy equipment. Here's why indoor herbs are perfect for beginners. First, they're compact. All 5 of these herbs thrive in small pots on a windowsill, perfect for apartments, condos, or tiny kitchens. Second, they're forgiving. Unlike vegetables that need specific conditions, herbs are incredibly resilient. They actually want to be harvested. The more you cut, the bushier they grow. And third, the cost savings are immediate. Fresh basil at the store? Nearly $5 for a tiny package, your homegrown basil. Pennies per harvest, and it keeps producing for months. Plus, you're eliminating all that plastic packaging waste. Every time you harvest from your windowsill instead of buying from the store, you're keeping plastic out of landfills. So let's dive into the 5 herbs that will transform your cooking and slash your grocery bill. Alright, herb number 1 is basil, and this is the gateway herb that gets most people hooked on indoor growing. Basil is what I call a high-value herb. At the grocery store, you're paying $4 to $5 for a tiny plastic clamshell that wilts in 2 days. But a single basil plant on your windowsill? It'll give you fresh leaves for 4 to 6 months straight. Here's why basil is perfect for indoors. It loves warmth. Your kitchen is probably 68 to 75 degrees. That's basil heaven. It also loves being harvested. The more you pinch off leaves, the bushier and more productive it becomes. Now there are dozens of basil varieties, but for indoor growing, stick with Genovese or sweet basil. They're compact, flavorful, and incredibly productive. Here's how to grow it. You'll need a pot at least 6 to 8 inches deep with drainage holes. Basil develops a decent root system, so don't skimp on pot size. Fill it with regular potting soil. Nothing fancy needed. Plant seeds about 1 4-inch deep, or if you're impatient like me, buy a small starter plant from the garden center for $3 to $4. Place it in your sunniest window. South-facing is ideal. Basil needs 6 to 8 hours of light daily. If your windows don't get enough sun, a simple $20 LED grow light works perfectly. Water when the top inch of soil feels dry. Basil likes consistent moisture but hates soggy roots. I water mine every 2 to 3 days. You'll get your first harvest in about 3 to 4 weeks from seed, or immediately if you bought a starter plant. Here's the harvesting trick most people miss. Always pinch off the top leaves, right above a leaf node. This encourages the plant to branch out and get bushier. Never strip all the leaves at once. Take no more than 1/3 of the plant per harvest. And watch for flower buds. As soon as you see them forming, pinch them off immediately. Once basil flowers, the leaves turn bitter and production slows down. The biggest mistake? Letting it get too cold. Basil is tropical. If temperatures drop below 50 degrees Fahrenheit, it'll suffer. Keep it away from drafty windows in winter. Cost: about $2 for seeds, or $3 to $4 for a starter plant. One plant saves you $50 to $75 over its lifetime compared to buying from the store. Herb number 2 is cilantro, and this is your $0 option. Here's the game changer. You can regrow cilantro infinitely from grocery store scraps. Seriously, next time you buy cilantro at the store, don't throw away the stems. Save the bottom 2 to 3 inches with the roots still attached. They usually leave some roots on store-bought cilantro. Stick those stems in a glass of water on your windowsill. Change the water every 2 to 3 days. Within 1 week you'll see new leaves sprouting. Once the roots are 2 to 3 inches long, transplant into a pot with soil. Or honestly, you can keep it in water indefinitely if you keep changing the water. I've had cilantro growing in water jars for 3 months straight. Now if you want to start from seed, here's what you need to know. Cilantro is fast growing but short-lived. It goes from seed to harvest in about 3 to 4 weeks, but then it bolts, meaning it flowers and goes to seed pretty quickly. The solution? Succession planting. Plant new seeds every 2 to 3 weeks so you always have fresh cilantro coming up. This way, you never run out. Cilantro prefers cooler temperatures than basil. 60 to 70 degrees Fahrenheit is perfect. It actually does better in a cooler room than a warm kitchen. It needs 4 to 6 hours of light daily, less than basil, which makes it perfect for east or west-facing windows. Harvesting tip: cut the outer stems first, leaving the center to keep producing. Once it starts to bolt, and you see those tall flower stalks, let it go to seed. Those seeds are coriander, a completely different spice you can use in cooking. The biggest mistake? Overwatering. Cilantro hates wet feet. Let the soil dry out between waterings, or you'll get root rot. Cost? $0 if you're regrowing from scraps. Less than $2 for seeds if you're starting fresh. Either way, you're saving $3 to $4 per week compared to store prices. Number 3 is parsley, the unsung hero of indoor herb gardens. Parsley doesn't get the glory that basil gets, but here's why it deserves a spot on your windowsill. It's incredibly long-lived. While cilantro bolts in 6 to 8 weeks, parsley keeps producing for 6 to 8 months. One planting gives you nearly a year of fresh herbs. There are 2 types, curly parsley and flat leaf, also called Italian parsley. For cooking, flat leaf has better flavor. For garnishing, curly looks prettier. I grow both. Parsley is slow to germinate from seed. We're talking 2 to 3 weeks before you see sprouts. So here's my shortcut. Buy a starter plant for $3 to $4, or if you're patient, soak seeds in warm water overnight before planting. This speeds up germination significantly. You'll need a pot 8 to 10 inches deep because parsley develops a long taproot. Use regular potting soil and place it in a spot with 4 to 6 hours of light. It's more shade tolerant than basil. Water consistently to keep soil evenly moist, but not soggy. Parsley likes more consistent moisture than cilantro. You'll get your first harvest about 6 to 8 weeks from seed, or immediately from a starter plant. Harvest outer stems first, cutting at the base. The center will keep producing new growth. Here's the cool part. Parsley is biennial, meaning it has a 2-year life cycle. In year 1, it produces leaves. In year 2, it flowers and goes to seed. But indoors, you can often keep it in that productive first-year stage for 8 to 10 months with proper care. The biggest mistake? Harvesting from the center instead of the outside. Always take outer stems first. This keeps the growing crown productive. Cost is about $2 for seeds, or $3 to $4 for a starter plant. One plant saves you $40 to $60 over its lifetime, compared to those $3 bunches at the store that wilt in days. Herb number 4 is mint, and I'm going to be honest with you. Mint is basically indestructible. If you can kill mint, you might want to stick with artificial plants. Here's the thing about mint: outdoors, it's considered invasive because it spreads like crazy and takes over gardens. But indoors, that aggressive growth habit makes it the perfect beginner herb. It wants to thrive, and it's very hard to mess up. There are tons of mint varieties: peppermint, spearmint, chocolate mint, apple mint. They all grow the same way indoors. Pick whichever flavor profile you like. I grow spearmint for mojitos and peppermint for tea. Here's the easiest way to start mint. Don't bother with seeds. Mint grows incredibly easily from cuttings. If you have a friend with a mint plant, ask for a 4 to 6 inch cutting. Or, buy a small starter plant for $3 to $4. If you're using a cutting, strip the lower leaves and stick it in water. Within 7 to 10 days, you'll have roots. Then transplant into soil. You'll need a pot at least 6 to 8 inches deep. Here's the key. Mint likes to spread, so give it room, or it'll get root-bound quickly. Mint is incredibly forgiving with light. It'll tolerate anything from 4 to 8 hours of sun. It's one of the few herbs that actually does okay in partial shade, making it perfect for north-facing windows. Water when the top inch of soil is dry. Mint likes consistent moisture and will wilt dramatically if it gets too dry. But don't panic, it bounces back within hours of watering. You can start harvesting as soon as the plant is established, usually 3 to 4 weeks. Cut stems right above a leaf node, and the plant will branch out and get bushier. Here's the best part. Mint keeps producing year-round indoors. No dormancy period. Just constant fresh leaves for tea, cocktails, desserts, and Middle Eastern dishes. The biggest mistake? Not pruning it back. Mint will get leggy and sparse if you don't regularly harvest. Cut it back by 1/3 every month or so to keep it bushy and productive. Don't be shy. Aggressive pruning makes mint thrive. And watch for flower buds. Like basil, once mint flowers, the leaves lose flavor. Pinch off any flower buds as soon as you see them. Cost: about 3 to 4 for a starter plant, or literally free if you propagate from a cutting. One plant saves you 30 to 50 over its lifetime. Those little plastic packages of fresh mint at the store are less than $4 each. Plus, mint tea alone saves you money. One homegrown plant gives you unlimited fresh mint tea instead of buying expensive tea bags. And finally, herb number 5, chives. This is your set-it-and-forget-it herb. Chives are part of the onion family and they bring that mild oniony flavor to eggs, potatoes, soups, and salads. But here's why they're perfect for indoor growing. They're perennial and incredibly low maintenance. Once you plant chives, they'll keep producing for years. I'm talking 2 to 3 years minimum from a single planting. They die back slightly in winter, then come roaring back in spring. But indoors with consistent conditions, they just keep going. You can start chives from seed, but they're slow. About 8 to 10 weeks to first harvest. My recommendation? Buy a small starter plant for $3 to $4, or even better. Ask a friend who grows chives to divide their plant. Chives multiply and form clumps, so dividing them is actually good for the plant. You'll need a pot 6 to 8 inches deep. Chives don't need huge pots, but they do spread and form clumps over time. Light requirements are flexible. 4 to 6 hours of sun is plenty. Chives are surprisingly shade-tolerant for an herb. Water when the top inch of soil is dry. Chives are drought-tolerant once established, so they're forgiving if you forget to water occasionally. Here's how to harvest. Use scissors to cut the leaves about 1 to 2 inches above the soil line. Cut from the outside of the clump first. The plant will keep sending up new shoots from the base. And here's a bonus. Chives produce beautiful purple flowers in spring. Those flowers are edible too. They have a mild onion flavor and look gorgeous as a garnish. The biggest mistake? Not dividing the clump when it gets overcrowded. Every 12 to 18 months you'll want to divide your chives. Pull the clump apart into 2 to 3 sections and repot. This keeps them productive and gives you extra plants to share with friends. Cost? About $2 for seeds or $3 to $4 for a starter plant. One plant saves you $25 to $40 over its multi-year lifetime. Those little packages of fresh chives at the store are less than $3 and you get maybe 2 uses out of them. Alright, before we talk cost breakdown, let me save you from the 5 mistakes that kill most indoor herb gardens. Mistake number 1. Wrong light placement. Herbs need more light than you think. That cute corner spot away from the window? Not going to work. You need 4 to 8 hours of direct or bright indirect light. South-facing windows are best. If you don't have good natural light, invest in a $20 LED grow light. It pays for itself in one harvest. Mistake number 2. Overwatering. This is the #1 herb killer. More herbs die from overwatering than underwatering. Stick your finger in the soil. If it's damp an inch down, don't water. Most herbs only need watering every 2 to 4 days indoors. And make sure your pots have drainage holes. Mistake number 3. Not harvesting enough. This sounds backwards, but herbs need to be harvested regularly. When you pinch back leaves, you trigger bushier growth. If you never harvest, plants get leggy, sparse, and eventually stop producing. Don't be shy. Cut those herbs. Mistake number 4. Using garden soil instead of potting soil. Garden soil is too dense for containers and doesn't drain well. Always use potting soil or potting mix for indoor herbs. It's lighter, drains better, and prevents root rot. Mistake number 5. Ignoring pests. Even indoors you can get aphids, spider mites, or fungus gnats. Check your plants weekly. If you spot pests early, a simple spray of water or insecticidal soap solves the problem. Wait too long, and they'll take over. Bonus tip: rotate your pots 180 degrees every few days. Herbs grow toward light, so rotation keeps them growing evenly, instead of getting lopsided. Let's talk money, because sustainable living should save you money, not cost you more. Here's what you need to get started with all 5 herbs. Plants or seeds. Basil starter plant, $3 to $4, or $2 for seeds. Cilantro, $0, regrow from scraps, or less than $2 for seeds. Parsley starter plant, $3 to $4, or $2 for seeds. Mint starter plant, $3 to $4, or free from cutting. Chives starter plant, $3 to $4, or less than $2 for seeds. Total for plants, $13 to $20 or as low as $7 if you use seeds and free options. 5 small pots, 6 to 8 inches, $0 to $10. You can reuse yogurt containers, plastic takeout containers, or buy basic plastic pots for $2 each. Potting soil, $5 to $8. One small bag covers all 5 herbs. Optional LED grow light if needed, $20 to $25. Only necessary if you don't have a sunny window. Total investment to start, $18 to $38 without grow light, $38 to $63 with grow light. Now let's compare that to buying fresh herbs at the store for 6 months. Fresh basil weekly, $5 multiplied 26 weeks equals $130. Fresh cilantro weekly, $3 multiplied 26 weeks equals $78. Fresh parsley weekly, $3 multiply, 26 weeks equals $78. Fresh mint monthly, $4 multiply, 6 months equal $24. Fresh chives monthly, $3 multiply, 6 months equal $18. Total store cost for 6 months, $328. Your indoor herb garden? Under $40 to start, and it keeps producing with minimal ongoing costs, just water and occasional fertilizer. You break even in less than 1 month. Everything after that is pure savings. Plus, you're eliminating plastic packaging waste, reducing transportation emissions, and enjoying fresher, more flavorful herbs than anything you'll find at the grocery store. And here's the kicker, this is a one-time investment. These plants keep producing. Basil for 4 to 6 months. Parsley for 6 to 8 months. Mint and chives for years. The return on investment is incredible. Beyond the money savings, let's talk about the impact you're making. Every time you harvest from your windowsill instead of buying from the store, you're making a difference. You're eliminating single-use plastic clamshells and packaging. The average American throws away 185 pounds of plastic per year, and those herb containers add up fast. You're reducing food miles. Store-bought herbs travel an average of 1,500 miles from farm to your kitchen. Your herbs, 0 miles, 0 transportation emissions. You're preventing food waste. How many times have you bought fresh herbs, used a tablespoon, and watched the rest rot in your fridge? With windowsill herbs, you harvest exactly what you need when you need it. 0 waste. And you're reconnecting with your food. There's something powerful about growing even a small portion of what you eat. It changes your relationship with food, with nature, and with sustainability. 5 herb plants on a windowsill might seem small, but if 10,000 people do this, that's 50,000 plants reducing plastic waste, cutting emissions, and building a more sustainable food system. This is how change happens, one windowsill at a time. So here's my challenge for you. Start with 1 herb this week. My recommendation, if you want instant gratification, start with cilantro from grocery store scraps. $0, 0 risk, results in 7 days. If you want long-term production, start with mint or chives. They're nearly indestructible and keep producing for years. Drop a comment below and tell me which herb you're starting with. I read every comment, and I love hearing about your growing journey. And if you want more practical, sustainable living tips like this, no judgment, just simple changes that actually work, hit that subscribe button. I've put a complete supply list in the description below with my exact seed and pot recommendations, plus timestamps so you can jump to any herb. Oh, and if you missed my last video on growing 7 vegetables indoors this winter, I'll link that up here. It pairs perfectly with this herb garden. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Now go grow some herbs.